What's up, She Squad? It's your girl, Mariam.
I'm Rufaro.
And I'm Hadya.
Welcome to another episode of the She Session.
Yay, yay.
Hello.
Hi, I feel like today's a good day. How are you guys feeling?
Child, I'm tired. I'm sleepy for some weird reason. But not for some weird reason. I know exactly why. Because I just have a huge sleeping debt. But I'm really happy, guys. We never mentioned this, guys. This is our first time recording in person.
Oh, yeah.
Whoop, whoop, whoop.
Yay! So I'm really happy about that. Like seeing you guys for the first time.
Yeah, same here.
And it's just been nice, having actual conversations with actual people, not behind a screen.
people.
It's been great. So I'm doing good, Mariam. Thank you
good.
for asking.
And you?
I'm good. I'm chilling.
Okay. I'm chilling.
I'm just chilling.
Nice. Yeah, I mean, I feel good wearing shades today. It's nice. So, you guys have been seeing this thing. So, I'm not on TikTok. If you've been listening to this podcast, you know by now that I'm not on TikTok just yet. I do have an account and I hope I start using it soon, but it's taking some getting used to. So I'm not on the streets of TikTok, but I did see something, and I think the conversation is even a bit more intense on TikTok, and that is passport bros. I have so many thoughts, but I want to hear from you guys. What do you know about passport bros, and how do you feel about it?
Go ahead, Rufaro.
Oh my god. Always on the spot. Because now if I say something shady, then you guys can correct yourselves. But passport bros, I actually didn't know it was a thing. I mean, we've known that some white people, it usually used to be white women who go to African countries looking for a man so now it's the man doing it apparently. And from what I've heard, or what I've seen on TikTok, it's these men now just come on the internet bragging about it. They now have this young woman on their arm, and that was the sole purpose of their trip. And sometimes they bring them back to their country. So the passport bros are usually American men for some reason, and they're traveling to African countries or some East European countries or some smaller countries in the
Caribbean,
yes,
Latin America
to look for. But my question is, I'm like, are you truly looking for love, or are you just looking for something that's easy? Because the narrative that they push is it's because they're doing it because American women are so hard-headed, American women are this, American women are that, and it's not even a racial
submissive.
thing. They just putting all the women in that basket to say you are difficult. So I'm gonna find me a submissive little wife and just dangle money in front of her, and she'll come back to America with me. That's what the narrative looks like. I think there are people who go to other countries to look for love. It's possible. But for me personally, the moment you feel the need to bring something that you're doing for yourself on the internet in a bragging way, where you're going to get some shade also, it's almost like you're looking for attention. I'm sorry.
That's a nice perspective. I actually didn't know that the sole purpose of them moving was just to find a wife. I actually thought it was I get a job, these days there's remote work, right? So you can work from anywhere, and you just go and look for a softer life, right? And then in the process also find, your idea of an ideal woman. So I didn't know they actually had this agenda, I'm going to look for a wife. I find that, it's interesting. But I want to know what you think, Hadya.
I actually heard of this term from you guys. I haven't been following, to be honest. But then once I found out what it was, I feel like it's always been there, So that show 90 Day Fiancé, I don't know if you guys have ever seen that.
Is typical.
Do you guys know Angela and Michael?
I freaking love Angela. You know why?
Why?
That during the vows, when the pastor's
when she said
love and obey, she was like, obey who?
Oh my god. So I don't know, it's always been there, I feel, although maybe now it's more of a thing. And I don't know, I didn't know about this thing of them moving to another country to find someone. I don't know, I just always feel like these kind of relationships are always I don't know if they're genuine. They're always weird, Someone is looking for, I guess, love, and the other person is looking for a passport.
Yeah.
And so, I don't know. It's weird. It's kind of sad.
Yeah.
It's sad, I feel.
But if both parties are getting into it knowing that this is like a transactional thing, I think it's okay as long as you're a consenting adult and you know that all I'm in this for is the passport, and I know all you're in this for is like a foreign woman or whatever. Maybe that's okay. But it's this thing of now wanting to exploit other people. It's
I have different thoughts. Okay, so I'll tell you what. So I'm not on the streets of TikTok. So this is what I saw on the streets of YouTube and Instagram, or what I have seen, right? So my understanding was there were these guys, like I said, that, life is now so much easier. I can have my nice cushion job in the US and like work from, the Philippines or or Thailand or Indonesia, or somewhere in the Caribbean or in Latin America. I get to live a very soft life because, I'm earning in dollars and I'm spending in a currency that, everything is now really affordable. And, for like white people, for some reason, they love the beach so much. So like they get to have sun all year round and then live, go to the beach every day if they want to. So it's also like really interesting for them then. And then obviously they get to interact with locals, which is where they now meet with like, local women as well. And what I understood, again, this is my understanding, right? So it may not be accurate at all. And what I understood was, so through this interaction, they now start to see that, oh, you know what? Women here are like so much more chill than women back home. I've heard the term, women back home are too independent. Women back home
with
are
a negative
too,
connotation.
what's that word? Not independent, but what's the other word for like?
Assertive.
No, not assertive. Okay, let's use independent. But basically, they're not submissive enough,
Or
and
they're masculine.
So it's like they don't treat us nice, which is, again, like you said, it's all like, at least all the versions I've seen is like an American perspective. So I'm really curious about what this, treating us nice looks like or not treating us nice looks like, because I don't know, right? I don't know how American women, treat their men, but I don't know. For me, it sounds like a stretch, but I don't know. So there's that perspective. I think there's some things that make sense. It makes sense that you want to live a softer life, right? Like, work remote and blah, blah, blah. It also makes sense that you could meet someone in that process. What doesn't make too much sense is, why do you need to bash other women? Just date who you want to date. Like, I don't get the whole bashing, women in the West. Like, you sound very dumb when you say shit like that. Like, that's my opinion. So when I hear that, it sounds weird. And then I've seen some reaction videos, and these are the funniest. So I saw some reaction videos from some men. So they would like do these videos with their partners. So like, at least I saw like two with, a man and his Filipino friend or fiance or whatever she was. And the girl was like, yeah, I'm saying this to all American women that are calling us dumb. Because basically what women in America are now saying is, yeah, that's their business. They can go and marry like those dumb people that can't speak English. Again,
excuse me?
I'm sorry that coming up also shows like the ignorance of Americans, right? People in the Philippines actually speak English, y'all. I don't know where you guys got this idea.
Even if they don't speak English, not speaking English does not equate dumbness.
Exactly. But they actually do speak English. You guys made sure with colonization and everything that we all spoke. So they do speak English. So there's that narrative of, go marry those dumb people. And so I've seen some healthy conversations or clapbacks from some Southeast Asian women saying why would you just call all of us dumb? It's kind of weird. And why do you think that we don't have enough sense to know who a good man is and stuff? Just because we choose to be with these American men doesn't mean like we're dumb or we're chasing something. And I think that's a very reasonable response, right? Because you can't just go about calling them dumb. It's kind of weird. There's that. But then there are other responses that's like, we treat men better here.
I think I saw that one.
You guys, she was so she was like, you guys don't treat your men right. We're just more respectful. We take care of them.
And
this
they're
and
coming
that.
here for peace.
Yeah. And I was like, this is interesting. And then the guy just sat there and was smiling. I was like, this feels very weird. Like, it was so cringe. It was so cringe. And I think there are just so many perspectives, like the perspective of the men themselves, which, you know, again, I feel like some men, always find a way to make men the topic of conversation in everything. Like, it's something that everybody does. Like, we've all have had to move abroad. We live in different countries from where we were born. We could be dating other people outside of our cultures. It's not a thing. Like, just move on with it. Like, if you prefer, like, why are you trying to make it a whole thing? I think that's my perspective. But I don't know.
Are these passport bros, are they usually young or old, or
Yeah.
what are they?
It's older.
You
The
think?
older dudes.
Actually, I've
I've
seen the
seen-
younger dudes. I've
You
seen
serious?
younger, yeah.
Are
So,
you serious?
and
Okay.
this was somebody's point, right? I've seen younger. So someone was like, if you're a loser, quote unquote, right? So you're a bum, right? You maybe have an okay job and you feel like you need to go somewhere for the money that you earn to make sense. It doesn't change you from being a bum.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? You go in there and saying, I'm going to get someone that's more submissive or maybe needs less money than American. Like, it doesn't change you from being a bum,
Yeah.
right? And if anything, I feel like it's a little bit unfair and insulting to women in those countries to be like, this is what they deserve. They deserve me. That
Like
I
mediocrity.
ain't shit, right? I think it's a bit insulting, to be
Yes.
honest. But those are the people I've seen. I've seen like young guys that seem like they're not ready to be serious in life whatsoever, but they want someone to like come and like look after them. And I find it very, again, just my perspective, right? I'm not saying like,
Yeah, men are just entitled pieces of.
Not to doing your own beat.
Yeah. I'm sorry, but yeah, that's just.
yeah,
Because also you talking about women in America are this and this and that. It's coming from a point of entitlement where you feel like you're entitled
should be
to
catering
being
to
taken
you,
care
yeah.
of. You're entitled to a woman who's this and that. These are human beings you're talking about. They have different characters. They have their own personality. So for you to want them to fit one bracket that fits your personal needs and your personal preferences, that's just dumb.
yeah,
And like you were saying, the perspective of like they go to these countries for work and then they fall in love.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that because I mean, come on, you're there, you might as well find
yeah.
love,
And
right?
like
it's
Hadya
these
was
ones
saying, is
that-
also not new. This
yeah,
always
it's not
has
new.
has
Women
always
have been
happened.
doing
Yeah,
it, you know. But it's these ones that literally come with their passport online, showing, "Hey, here's my passport.
Yeah.
I'm getting it stamped. I'm going to this country to find a woman." I find that so cringe-worthy because it's like,
yeah.
you would think they're going there to get a dog or something.
Yeah, I think like it definitely gives that vibe. Like,
Yeah.
we're just gonna go and somehow you think you're making someone's life better. But let me, like, this is even another perspective, right? Like, sometimes women in those countries are like, sometimes, not all the time, but they're like much more superficial. Like, we live in Germany now, right? I think the same thing could, like, I can imagine German men also saying women here are very independent and like, you know, not submissive, blah blah blah.
Oh, don't imagine it. They say it.
Yeah, so this is the thing, right? But
They say it. That's why most of them
to
date
be
us.
honest, I think you're more likely to have, quote unquote, you know, and what's the word? I don't want to use anything that would trigger people, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be much more expensive, for instance, to be with like a Nigerian woman than to be with a German woman, because some of us in these places, like the way we're raised, again, healthy or not, but some of us are like really superficial. Some of us are like, you know, and I've actually heard stories like that. So some of these passport bros, they like, you know, lie about themselves. Not really lie. They think that all they need to offer is just their passport.
Yeah.
And there was an example of some guy that went to, I think, the DR, and the girl was expecting like, you know, to stay in like the Four Seasons or something, and he was in some
couldn't
rusty ass hotel. You know what I mean? Like, because she just thought, okay, you know, he's American, so I'm now gonna have like access to money and be like really fancy and stuff.
Yeah.
And he could only afford like, you know, maybe an Airbnb
Oh my
and shit like
God.
that. So it's like, it's also not true that, you know, now I'm going to go there and everything's going to be easy. That's actually not true at all. It's
and they're not going to share that perspective on the internet.
Yeah,
They are
exactly.
But I mean, but also we've talked about women doing it. I watched this documentary. It's there on YouTube. Let me think of the name. Wait, I took a screenshot of it. It's about it's just the title actually also talks about it's about women. It's a black guy actually who made the whole documentary, talking about he was talking about British women specifically because he's from England, and he was like, why are British women going to Gambia? In this case, it was based in Gambia, to look for men, and there's a whole documentary on it. If I tell you, I think women are the original passport bros, because when you mentioned the Angela...
Wait, do you mean like white women or just...
Obviously.
Okay.
But they're usually like old.
Much older, yes. With the money and the dead husband.
So like Angela.
Sometimes they don't even have money. Sometimes they don't even have... I don't know. It's always weird.
But I guess
all I can think of is like 90 Day Fiance. I'm sorry. Because the examples on that show are just so cringe.
Yeah.
And I just feel like, how did these people even agree to go on this show? Because they look so bad, you know. They make them look so bad and so desperate.
You mean like the people they're helping, quote unquote, like the people they're trying to give the passport to?
No, even the women who go. So for the women or the men, they go looking for someone, you know, in a third world country. Most of the time that's what it is. It's just this weird desperation, because you'll find a woman that's, like you said, old, divorced, or her husband is dead or something. She's like 50 or 60 years old, and she's running after like a 25-year-old Algerian man, or I don't know where he's from. And it's like,
but how do they meet these people? So like on
they say
on the internet. Okay.
Oh, on this documentary, they would actually meet them in person. So there's a club that's known for this. So it's giving that street in the Netherlands, in Amsterdam, with the
red light district.
Thank you, that one. It's giving that, because this guy who was picked up by a woman, it was later on picked up by a woman. He was saying, we go to this club and you just kind of like stand there looking pretty.
that's deep.
And you guys should watch the documentary. Yeah, I'm gonna check the name and we'll add it into the description. But it's very interesting because then you get either picked. So you're going there every night. You either get picked or you don't. So I'm just like, but there are some of the men in the documentary who, I'm sorry not to spoil it to you guys, but who actually get something out of it. This one guy, he would make sure, because the woman, the older woman of it, was very old. Like I think she was close to 80, and she refused to move to Gambia, so she was staying in the UK. And would be sending money to him.
Did you say, sorry, hold up 1 minute. Did you just say she was close to 80?
Yes.
Yes. I feel like we all just kind of like, no. What?
Yes, she was close to 80. Yes.
What?
And then he is the one who would go to the UK here and there.
Coffin, man. I'm looking for a husband.
What? Okay, go on.
Sorry. I'm like, is the sex even sexing at that point? But I don't know. But so I think for her it wasn't even more for the physical part of things. I think because she had money, a lot of it. So this guy, he would obviously here and there, he would be the one going to the UK to visit her, but she would not come to Gambia. So what he would do is all the money she would give him, he would invest it in so he had this family compound that was just land before she started out with this woman. And as time went on, and he was actually showing, he was building a house, he was taking care of his family, doing this, that, and he was openly saying, I don't love this woman, but she gives me money, she takes care of me, and I'm good. Because this woman, I think she was rich. And she just wanted some way to put her money, I guess.
Interesting.
So I'm like, I'm not against passport broing or passport sissying. If it's gonna make someone's life out there better, I mean, by all means, I guess.
Yeah, it's weird, but I don't know if they float. If they like it, I love it.
Yeah.
Love it for you.
Well, I have a question. What do you guys think of the reverse? So this one is going to get me in trouble. I know. Okay. So what do you think of the reverse? So you know how we say, like, when we move here, you kind of notice that some black men, would rather go to the sunken place. Like they actively seek it sometimes, right? But again, in this case, maybe not for actually maybe for passport, I don't know, but maybe
Yeah,
not
some
for
do it for
passport.
passport, yeah.
Maybe just, trying to attain, your princess or whatever. So what do you guys think of like that perspective of things? Like, should everybody just have their own, so like I can decide, I want to be with someone because she's going to be submissive, and then he can also decide I want to be with someone because my kids will have like a nicer skin tone and nicer hair. What do you guys think of that perspective? How do you guys like?
I don't know.
It's all cringe.
Yeah, it's
How do you guys
sad. I mean,
thinking
if you're actually thinking about being with someone just so your kids will be light skinned, or
That's the
But
thing.
people,
That
it's
is
really a thing.
It's a real
I
thing.
personally know
I
someone.
mean, think about it
who's
back
like that.
home. Like this happens back home. Not to even bring in the white perspective, but like how guys just want to be with like a really light skinned girl so their kids
we
can
need
be.
to go back home, and we need to like brainwash people back into before colonization, because what the hell
True.
is that? You
Yeah.
know, it's just I'm sorry, but this for me, it's sad and it triggers me because no, it's just not okay. What was the other part?
Like I'm not,
Hadya is looking so.
no, I think the question was like, should people just be allowed to quote unquote, have their weird things,
People
basically?
will do whatever they want at the
True.
end of the
Way,
day,
yeah.
True.
You know, I obviously feel some type of way about it because it's weird, but whatever floats your boat.
There's already damage, right, to this whole narrative of blackness and whatever.
Yeah.
And you are just perpetuating the same narrative. You're just pushing the same narrative that got us here in the first place. I personally know a woman, she's here in Germany. She's married to a white man, and she recently had her kid. And this kid, I don't know if it's because he's still like a baby. He looks white, like he looks really white. And so this other time I went visiting
So
with
the
my...
kid is mixed, right? So
Yeah,
she's married.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
yeah.
And then we made a comment. We were like, "Oh, your kid looks so white. If you are walking with her alone."
Was she
people
feeling
could
very
actually-"
proud of herself?
She was so proud,
Yeah.
and she was like, "I hope it
So
stays like
strange.
that."
Oh my
I'm like,
God.
"What do you mean?"
That
And
is-
then we were even
yeah.
like saying, even the hair, because me and this person, I'm not gonna say who she is because she listens to this podcast and she would know what we're talking about. But we were like saying it in the perspective of, your kid is racially ambiguous.
Yeah.
Your kid is racially confusing. How are you going to deal with that? Because we're very pro-black, but she just took it to the other extreme of like, oh, I actually like that, and I hope it
I'm
stays
sure.
like that.
I'm sure.
The hair is
yeah.
straight. I hope it really stays like that. So she wants her kid to be able to pass as white at some point. And I'm like,
Can somebody tell us how we actually heal collectively
That's
from
the
the
problem.
self-hate?
'Cause
Because it's so
it's-
deep. It's
it's very
so
deep.
deep. Yeah.
and at this point, white people have to do. They don't have to do anything. Or they just have to sit, fold their hands, and watch us
And
do
watch
the
our
damage.
mess. Yeah.
Because I'm like, how do you say, I hope my kid stays racially?
You know, one thing I've actually noticed or I've come to realize is a lot of mixed people have deep, complex problems with identity.
That's so true.
And if you talk to anyone who's mixed, you'll just realize that they are so messed up in the
Yeah.
And
head,
it's sad.
I don't, obviously there are probably people who grow up with healthy, relationships with their parents, and their parents are, they have a good relationship with each other. But a lot of them, I think, grow up in very weird situations where one of the parents is probably a secret racist,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then-
Undercover.
Exactly. Yeah.
Undercover
and
racist.
just like weird vibes, hearing weird comments from their white
Yeah.
family, just not feeling like they fit anywhere.
Yeah.
So
And I have a theory on this. I know a lot of people are going to feel some type of way, but I've noticed also on this identity crisis thing that you mentioned, I have noticed there's a difference between, you can tell who has a black mother and who has a white mother.
Yep.
okay.
You can tell.
Yeah, I know what you're talking
can
about.
definitely
The
Yes.
tell.
ones with the black mothers are probably more confident, assertive.
Exactly.
They have less of a
Yeah.
identity crisis. I mean,
Okay.
the identity crisis comes with being mixed race, right? Because on the other side, it's like, to the white people, you're always going to be black.
Yeah.
To us, the black people, you're always going to be that cousin of ours who's mixed, right? So, I think in both narratives, the black side is what's more accepting, and especially if the mom is black. Because, I mean, maybe it stems from just the fact that mothers are the ones who do most of the nurturing or whatever. But you can tell who has a black mom and who has a white mom.
Yeah, I like that. But for me, I would have phrased it a different way of you can tell who has a black mom or who has a black dad. Because the question is, why don't the dads even try? You know what I mean? Like, why do the black men not try hard enough to like protect their kids in those spaces? Yeah. Because I feel like at least the examples I've seen, they kind of just let the kids completely immerse themselves in the white world, as difficult as it is, and then they don't try to help them navigate, you know, the difficult parts. Because obviously as a black person, you know those experiences. Like just because you're married to a white person now doesn't mean it stops. And sometimes you get it from even like your family members, right? And you know that your kid is also going to struggle with some of these things, but there's just no effort whatsoever to try to, you know, explain to them or coach them or tell them, if this happens, if someone says this stupid thing to you, say this back. Or like there's just nothing. They just kind of leave them, like act like it doesn't exist. They don't share their own experience. Because I think also there's a thing about sharing your own struggles with your kids, at least when they get to a certain age, right? Because it really does, you know, help. But yeah, I think it's more of, I wouldn't stress too much about the white moms, because I don't kind of expect anything from white people. That's just how I live my life. But I would actually be like, I'm more critical of the black dads. Like, why do they not
parent.
just...
You could be the black mom too. Because some black moms, I'm pretty sure there are some black moms who are exactly like the black dads.
True. Yeah.
But also there are white moms. There's this creator, oh my gosh, shout out to her. I'm even going to name drop on TikTok. She's German. She's a German woman married to a black man. And you would swear she's a black mother. She's at White Silence Kills or whatever. So it's easy. I think it's even hard to find her because TikTok has been shutting down her accounts.
Really?
Every time. She makes content calling out white people, especially white people in mixed with mixed kids, so like in interracial relationships. I swear if you are to find her, you would understand, but I don't know how many accounts she has made so far. So each time when she would get blocked, she would show up on my For You page and I would follow the new account. The whole time when I would find her, she has so far created more than 17 accounts.
Wow.
Because she'll be calling out the BS and she keeps it real. So I'm like, I would love to see more white women like that.
But why exactly is TikTok shutting it down? Like, what is
you're calling out white people? What are you doing?
Life.
Because she has also she used to be like this hardcore person. You would swear she's a black woman. But then they would shut it down. She's tried to become softer, you know, not using certain terms and whatever, but they would still shut her down.
Interesting.
And that's where you see the problem. So
I wish we would
German?
have
more. Yes, she's very German.
Actually different for a German.
Yes. So I wish we would have more of these white people who are like that, because like you're saying, like what you're talking about the dads, right? It may not even be a racial thing, but maybe just because of the patriarchy that dads generally just push the nurturing of kids onto the women.
True.
Maybe they actually feel like, I don't need to step into whatever. But you have brought kids into a world that they need massive protection. Step up to it.
Very correct.
Because your white partner, even if they want to, they may not know where to start because they've never had some of these experiences. So you as the black parent in that thing, you just gotta step up, I guess.
Yeah, I think these are all interesting perspectives, right? And like the conversation is going to continue because I think it's so like heated, right? Especially for Americans.
Hit it.
So yeah, we'd like to know what you guys think on the topic. Please send us your comment, drop comments on social media. You can find us at the She Sessions Pod on all social media platforms, and we also have a Google form if you want to send in something anonymous. Send us your questions on the topic. Tell us what you think about our thoughts on the topic, and we'll catch you in the next one. Bye.
Bye.